Yesterday we talked about, the clear idea. BO is not a tool, BO is a company. We are going to learn BOBI, business objects, business intelligence, and BOBI space. In BOBI space, most of the time we are going to talk about, WebI reporting, crystal reports, dashboard designer means dashboards. In BO, for creating WebI report, in current version of the BO, current version is called as a BO R4. In release 4, you have two tools. The tool number 1 is called as a BI Launchpad. Tool number 2 is called as a Rich Client. For creating WebI reports, either you can use BI Launchpad or Rich Client. Two tools. For creating crystal reports, in current version, we have two tools. Number 1 is called as a Crystal Reports 2011. Number 2 is called as a Crystal Report Enterprise 4.0. In previous version is called as a BO11 R3. We have only one tool is called as a Crystal Reports 2008. Crystal Reports 2008. But current version have 2011. It's the latest version of the Crystal Report. And in current version, for creating dashboards, we have a tool is called as a dashboard
report. Is there a problem? Why they given two versions of Crystal Report in this new one?
I'll tell you, don't worry. In the current version, for creating dashboards, you have a dashboard designer. In previous version, they call it Excelsius. Now they renamed Excelsius as dashboard designer. Renamed as Excelsius as dashboard designer. Basically they made Crystal as a WebI tool in the current version, sir. In the previous version, Crystal is a desktop tool. Why they are maintaining two tools? If the customer requested, for example, you are a customer, you don't want WebI, you don't want a dashboard, you want only Crystal. That time what the company will do, the company will give Crystal Reports 2011 version for you. You just need to buy only Crystal Reports 2011 and install in your system, and you can create your own reports by using Crystal Reports 2011. That's why they are maintaining two tools. If the customer requested only, they will give only 2011. But for our case, we install, if you want all the tools, when you install BO, you'll get Crystal Report as well as dashboard as well as WebI reporting. But in earlier version, if you want a WebI, you need to install separate software is called as a business object software. Later, if you want a Crystal Reports, you need to buy Crystal Reports tools and you need to install a Crystal Reports. And then later, if you want Excelsius, you need to buy Excelsius software and install Excelsius software. And later, if you want to integrate these three tools with SAP, you need to buy a SAP GUI and integrate these three tools with the SAP by using Integration Kit software. Integration Kit software. That means you need lot of installation in the earlier version. But nowadays you need not to install one by one software. When you install BOXI R4, you will get WebI reporting as well as Crystal Reports as well as dashboard designer as well as integration kit for SAP BO. That all you will get with one installation. That's why the current version of R4 they called as the ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. R3 they called as BOXI R3 they called as Enterprise EP, Enterprise version. R4 BOXI R4 they called as ERP. In R3, if you want, you need to install BO for WebI. If you install BO, then you'll get a WebI. Then you need to install a Crystal for Crystal Reports. For dashboards, you need to install Excelsius. And SAP BEX, you need a SAP GUI installation. For integrating BO, Crystal, Excelsius with SAP, you need an integration kit software. These are all is mandatory in R3. In R4, you need not to install R. You need not to install all. Once you install BO Xi R4, you will get all three by default. You will get as well as integration kit. You will get as well as Bexquery designer. You need not to install one by one software separate. All you will get one tool. But one of my customer is asking, no, I don't want all WebI. I don't want Crystal. I don't want Excelsius. I want only one tool called as a Crystal Reports. That time still you are asking me to install BOXIR4. When I install BOXIR4, I'll get all three tools. I need to pay a lot of money. Why don't you give only Crystal Reports? That time the company will give, the SAP will give only Crystal 2011 version software for them. Then they can take 2011 version and they can install and they can enjoy with the OLTP reporting. If they want only dashboard designer, that time company will give Excelsius 2011 version. If they want all, then we'll give a BOR4. So one installation they'll get all. But if the customer is a low customer or medium customer, they want only one tool, that time we'll give only one. That flexibility you have. Okay, that is fine. Now today's agenda is, yesterday we have seen, I give a few steps to create a WebI report. Please keep in your mind, if you want to create a WebI report in BOXIR4, very first step is you need to create a universe on top of data warehouses. The later, please access Rich Client and create a WebI report and save the report into BI Launchpad and send BI Launchpad URL to end user. End user can see your report from BI Launchpad. But in earlier version, you need to create, if you want to create a WebI report, first you need to create a universe designer. You need to create a universe by using universe designer. Later, create a WebI report by using Rich Client and publish your WebI report into InfoU portal and give a InfoU portal access for the end user. End user can see your report from InfoU portal. Now, they renamed InfoU portal as a BI Launchpad. Now the new name for InfoU is BI Launchpad. Okay, same case. Now we'll see how to create a Crystal report. Programs, BI platform. There you have a Crystal reports 2011. If you want to see your other Crystal reports, you can see Crystal reports for Enterprise 4.0. This is basically to create a report on top of universe. I'll tell you later. This is for creating Crystal reports on top of any data source there in the world. Okay, any database there in the world. Once you go to start, programs, business objects BI platform 4.0, and there you have a Crystal reports 2011, then Crystal reports 2011. Then select, click on that Crystal report.
Muted.
Once you click on Crystal reports, you'll be on the home page of Crystal report. If you want to create a new Crystal report, I hope you know the flexibility with the Crystal report. If you want to create a WebI report, you need a universe on top of, data warehouse. But Crystal report case, you need not to create any universe. You can directly talk with any data source there in the world. That's why it's a powerful reporting tool, and as well as it supports for OLTP database. Direct you can talk with the OLTP database and you can create a report. Now, if you want to create a new report in Crystal, how you can create a new report in Crystal? First you need to connect with the Crystal report. Yes, I connected with the Crystal report. Very next step, you need to click on blank report. When you click on blank report, it will take you into the database expert. This database expert is basically to create a connection For example, my customer is asking, my client is asking to create a crystal report on top of ODBC database. There is a tables. There I have a lot of databases. I'm just taking a database name called as eFashion as a source. Yes, take your eFashion as a source. The steps for creating crystal reports is, first you need to click on what? Blank report. File, new, blank report. Once you click on blank report, it will take you into the database expert. And then you need to expand your create new connection. Now I'm very clear. My requirement is I'm going to create a one crystal report on top of a database name called as eFashion database. That database is built on Access. That's why the database you can connect with the open database connectivity, ODBC. Now our agenda is, first you need to create a connection between your crystal report and the eFashion database. If you want to create a new connection, you just need to expand create new connection here. Expand create new connection. You are going to create a connection for Access database. That time you need to use ODBC drivers. If you want to create a connection between crystal report and BEX query, that time you need to use a BW MDX query. If you want to create a connection between InfoSets and SAP InfoSet and Crystal, you need to go to InfoSet. If you want to create a crystal report between your crystal report and Universe, if you want to create a crystal report on Universe, you need to take Universe connection. If you want to create a crystal report on top of XML and HTML URLs, that time you need to take XML and web services as the data source. If you want to create a crystal report on top of Excel sheets, personal data files, you need to use Access/Excel. But now our agenda is, I am going to create a crystal report between Access database name called as eFashion. So you need to select a drivers called as the ODBC drivers, ODBC to create connection. Now I am trying to select ODBC. Yes, expand ODBC. That time it will display what are all data bases there in Access. But my agenda is, I know my customer is requested to create an eFashion. Just select a eFashion database as a source. I just selected eFashion as a data source. eFashion as a data source. Then click on next and enter your database username password here. Who will tell this username password in real time? That guy, the DB guy, database guy who built eFashion database. That guy will send a login credentials for eFashion database to administrator. Administrator give us the login credentials. Yes, anyway I got my login credentials for my administrator. From my administrator, now my username and password for eFashion database is administrator bo@123. Click on finish. Once you click on finish, it will display the available tables in the eFashion database. If you want to create a report with the calendar year lookup, article lookup, soft fact, product promotion fact, I am going to use few columns from article lookup, few columns from calendar year lookup table, and few columns in the soft fact table, few columns in the product promotion fact table. Then select that particular table, click on right arrow, click on OK. It will create a joins between the tables. You need not to use your brain to create a tables. Joins. It will create a joins. Then click on OK. Once you clicked on OK, you need to go to view. There you have a field explorer. In the field explorer, expand database, There you can see all your tables, that respective columns. For example, if you want an article label in a report, you just need to drag and drop article label into details tab of the report pane. Before dragging this, let me explain what all the tabs you have here. Here you have a report header, page header, details, report footer, page footer. Basically, report header is to add text. When you go to insert text object, to add a report title, you are creating a report. If you want to add a title, e-fashion sales report. If you want to create a report title, that time you need to use the title you need to install in the report header. When you put a title in the report header, when you click on preview report, the title will be appeared in the first page, not in all the pages. Very next, page header. Basically, when you talk about report have a table format. In the table format, what it will do, it will give article label, then article label details. For example, see, when you drag and drop article label into page header, this time what it will do, it will give only heading of the column, but not data. This is the case. What you need to do is take an article label, just drag and drop into details tab. It will create a heading as well as data. See, when you click refresh, this time it will give a heading as article label as well as data like this. If you put this column only in the page header, that time it will give only this heading. Only this will give only this heading, but not this data. If you drag and drop your object into details tab, that time it will write a heading as well as data. That's why always you need to drag and drop your fields from field explorer to details tab. That time it will write page heading, that means column heading, as well as data for year. And if you want a amount sold, just drag and drop into details tab. Yes, well and good, you drag and drop. And what is report footer? What is page footer? Report footer is basically, if you want to write a some below footers and headers, in the document you will write a when the report is got created. Suppose you want to add your date and page number, that time you need to go to special fields. There you have a print date and page numbers. That page numbers and all, you need to add in the page footer. And if you want to put subtitles, that all you need to put in the report footer. Yes, anyway, you add a title and you just drag and drop article label, year, amount sold from field explorer to details tab. Now it created the headings for article label and year and amount sold, as well as data for article label, year and amount sold, and as well as page number you have added in the page footer. Now if you want to see results of this, you just need to click on refresh. When you click on refresh, you can see the data for this report. Yes, you are displaying data for article label year 2005, this value. This particular article has got in 2005 this much revenue. This particular article, second article, is got in 2005 this much sales revenue. Yes, well and good, you are displaying report. Very next step is, my customer is requested to add a chart for this report. That time what you need to do is, you just need to go to insert. There you have a chart. The chart always you need to put in the report header. Here when you see this RH, PH means page header, RH means report header, D means detail. You just need to keep your mouse pointer, RH, release the mouse pointer. That time it will display the charts. Go to type of charts. I'm going to add a pie chart. Just select pie chart, data. My customer is asking to display chart with the calendar year wise and values with the amount sold. Calendar year, you need to drag and drop into, you need to click on change of. Quantity sold, you need to take into the show values. Click on OK. It will add a chart. You want to format the chart. How you can format, you just need to right click on the chart. There you have a chart options. There you have a appearance. There you have a titles. If you want to change the titles, please change the titles. There you have a data labels. You can change. In the appearance again, you can use tilt. Tilt is basically increase and decreasing. Depth is basically increase depth and width. Rotation. If you want to rotate your chart, you can rotate. If you want to explode a chart, still you can. And if you want to show the data labels, yes, you can show the data values also. If you want to change the listen, now these titles, 2004 sales, 2005 sales, 2006 sales, they're in right side. If you want to put in left side, you can put in left side and click on OK. That is a way you can, if you want to increase the size of this chart, still you can. This is a way you can, and if you want to show the chart in the box, insert, there you have a box, and take a box, and if you want to show that box in double frame and with double frame with the sum line, click on border box, right click on box, there you have a format box. There you can put your color. If you want to put a red color, please put a red color, and style is single. If you want to put dash, or maybe if you want to put in dotted, still you can put a dotted lines. That all you can do here. Yes, well and good, you created the crystal report. Anyway, I will explain you how to create a crystal report with the steps. Again, I will explain you. Don't worry about that. Yes, sir. John sir, now the question is.
Unmuted.
John sir, now the question is for you. You created this chart.
Yes, sir.
How you distribute the chart? How you distribute this for the end user?
You can publish, you can save to the repository.
Yes. Now you created this crystal report from your local system. But customer is there in UK. Customer name is Radhika. Radhika is paying a lot of money for us. We want to see your report. How she can access your report? You got it, sir? You got my question? Hello?
Yes, sir.
What do you need to do now?
Yes, sir. Send to the peer platform.
You need to go to File, Export to, or you can go to Save As, or Save. There's a concept called as what? Enterprise. Then you need to enter that BO server name. BO at the rate of 123. I am going to save the server name called as Ravan. That means my crystal report I am going to put in the Ravan server. Click on OK. Once you click on OK, it will display a lot of folders in the Ravan server. I am going to give a UK user called as Radhika and report name called as sample. Click on save. How Radhika can access? I told you in Vivo.
The audio is
Sorry?
echoing. So echoing audio, not good.
Okay. How
Muted.
access report? Tell me, sir, how Radhika can access the report? Radhika can access
Unmuted.
Vivo. There is a guy called as administrator. Let me close this first. In vivo, there is a guy called as administrator. Administrator creates
Muted.
user account for Radhika, and as well as they will send a URL for Radhika. That URL is for BI Launchpad. Radhika from their system, what she need to do is, she need to open a browser. There, she need to type an URL for BI Launchpad. BI Launchpad. Once she type the BI Launchpad, let me take a BI Launchpad URL. BI Launchpad. Generally, this can be accessible with the browser. You just need to open a browser, type an URL here. Once you type the URL for this, it will ask her to enter a username password. Anyway, already administrator created user account for her in the Ravan server. She need to enter the server name called as Ravan, and she need to enter her username, her password here, her username and password here, and click on login. Once she enter her username and password, once she logged on BI Launchpad, she will be on the home page of BI Launchpad. That means the customer need not to install any software. She need not to install any software in her system. But from our system, we have a crystal report. We created crystal report. We put in the Ravan server, but she can access your report with the URL called as a BI Launchpad URL, and she will connect with the BI Launchpad. She need to click on document list. Once she clicked on document list, it will display a lot of folders there in the Ravan server. But if she have only access for UK folder, once she click on document list, she can see only UK folder. I'll show you how she can access a report. She need to go to folders, document list, then folders, expand public folders. She have only access for UK folder. That time she can see UK folder. She can click on sample, then she can see her report in the Internet Explorer. See, this you have opened in the Internet Explorer without installing any software. She can access from their system with the URL name called as BI Launchpad URL. But the mandatory for her is she need a user account in Ravan server. We'll create user account in Ravan server. The administrator will create a user access for Ravan user account for her in the Ravan server.
Unmuted.
Tell me, sir, John sir, is it possible to modify crystal report from here BI Launchpad? Hello? John sir, can you hear me? Radhika ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You want to-
Yes. Is it possible for her to modify this report from this BI Launchpad?
No.
No. Then tell me how you can modify now. She don't like this colors and she wanted some other colors. She want to change the headings of your report. Then how you change and how you give a modification for her? Now what I did. Okay, there is a echo. Why it's coming? No. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
John,
We are all
sir,
muted.
Okay. Now, see what I am trying to explain is, if you are a developer, you need a crystal report tool in your local system. But Radhika is an end user. He need not to install any software. For her, we'll give BI Launchpad URL, and for her, we'll create a user account in the server. Later, once you created your crystal report, you just need to put in the Ravan server.
Can you please mute everyone?
Sorry?
Please mute, it's echoing.
I think somewhere it's coming, sir. Now
That's
can you hear
from
me?
Vishwa's phone. But it is echoing from Vishwa.
What about now? What about now, sir?
Vishwa needs to.
Okay. Okay, anyway, let me.
Muted.
Okay, now see. What about now? I have created with Crystal Reports 2011. Okay. Now see. Once you created the report with the Crystal report from your local system, then you need to publish that Crystal report into Ravan server. And Radhika case, she need a URL for BI Launchpad. That means report you are creating with the Crystal report tool, but Radhika is accessing with the BI Launchpad. She need a URL for BI Launchpad, and she need a user account and password in the Ravan. That is what I am trying to explain. That means the customer need not to install any software in their local system. She have a URL. She have a username password in the server. She can comfortably access whatever the reports there in the Ravan. She don't care about what reports there in the Ravan. For example, in the Ravan server, you exported WebI report, Crystal and Excelsius. She can access all the reports from BI Launchpad from Ravan server. But for the developer case, if you want to create a Crystal report, you need a Crystal Reports 2011 version in the local system, developer system. If developer want to create an Excelsius dashboard, they need an Excelsius software in the local. If developer want to create a rich client, WebI report, they need a rich client. If the developer want a universe to create, universe, they need a universe designer. That means only the developer system required a software, but end users who are there across the world, they need not to install any software, but mandatory for them is they need a user account in our BO server. They need a URL for BI Launchpad. That means the the respect access for the end user is with BI Launchpad. Always they will access our reports, all reports from BI Launchpad. But WebI case, the customer can modify their report from BI Launchpad. If they want, they can modify the WebI report. But Crystal case, they cannot modify the Crystal report from BI Launchpad. Crystal reports, if you want to modify, you need a Crystal report installation. Anyway, the customer, they don't have a Crystal report installation. If they want any modification on the report, they need to send a mail to us. Then later, the developer need to connect with the Crystal report and import Crystal report from Ravan server and modify the Crystal report and export to the Ravan server. Later, the end user can see your Crystal report. That's all. They cannot modify. Same way for dashboard case, you need to create your dashboard by using Excelsius software. Later put in the Ravan server, but customer can access from BI Launchpad, but they cannot modify your Excelsius dashboard. If they want any modification, they need to put a mail to the developer. Developer from their system will connect with the Excelsius. okay, they cannot modify from here, and they cannot modify from the info view portal, and same way Excelsius also they cannot modify, but creation and modification is from Excelsius. The access they can use only from BI Launchpad. The people can access from BI Launchpad. And the next tool is called as, there is other tool, you know, in the BI Launchpad, when you see there is applications, in the application there is a crystal report for enterprise. They gave a new tool in R4. They gave a new tool in R4. They gave a new tool in R4 called as Crystal Report Explorer. Now people can access from through that tool. They can access from what? Through web. Through web, and they can modify. But in R3 they don't have.
Unmuted.
Agree, sir? That is what you are that is what you are expecting, Leela sir. Leela sir, can you hear me? Hello? This tool is there in R4. This is not there in R3. Now, what I am trying to explain, the main difference between R3 and R4 is, R3 we have
Muted.
for Crystal Reports. In R4 they introduced two tools. One is Crystal Reports 2011. Second one is Crystal Report Explorer. This Crystal Report Explorer you can access from Crystal Report Enterprise. People call it as a Crystal Report Enterprise. That even you can access with the BI Launchpad through, you know, web. But one thing is that you can create only on top of Universe. But you cannot create on all DBs. They can create their own ad hoc reports on top of UNX, and click on next. There is a Universe, and they can create, you know, on top of only Universe. Otherwise need to configure UNX, then they can create a report. But if you want to create a crystal report on top of different data sources, that time the mandatory is you need to create a crystal report by using 2011 version and create a report and publish in the server. People can access from BI Launchpad. That is a best practice. They can modify now by using Crystal Report Explorer. Vishwa. In R4 they can modify by using Crystal Report Explorer. You know, when you see here, there is a Universe. In the Universe they can create their own report here, and finish. They can see their own report here. On top of Universe, or, you know, I'll show you. It's taking time, please. You know, this is the way you can create a report, and as well as they can see your, you know, existing report. Already our created report is there in the public folders. Our report is there in the UK folder, and the report name called as, we'll see what report is there in the UK folder. You know, our report is a sample. Then they can open from the Crystal Enterprise. Your report they can access from Crystal Enterprise, and they can modify your report now. I'll show you. But you know, if you try, you know, this is what they can do here, and if they want they can add a new text here. They can add a new text here, and they can write their own text, and they can modify your report format. They can modify your report format from now through web is called as a BI Launchpad. Now the new difference between R3 and R4 is, in R3 creation and modification of the crystal report is from Crystal 2008. In R4 creation comma modification is possible from both the tools called as Crystal 2011 comma Crystal Explorer or somebody called as Crystal Enterprise tool. That means you can create your. So now EvenX is a new name. I'll explain you, don't worry. No, in earlier version there is a name called as a UNV. For the universe extension is UNV. Now there is a new tool called as a Information Designer. The new name from the universe when you create with the universe designer is UNX. That means it supports for, I'm just answering the question for Leela. The UNX now, .UNX now supports for multiple data sources, but .UNV supports only for one data source. Okay, when you create a universe with the Information Designer, yesterday I explained we have two tools for creating universe in the latest version. One is called as the Information Designer tool, other one is called as a Universe Design tool. When you create a universe with the Universe Design tool, that time it will give a .UNV. When you create a universe with the Information Design tool, that time it will give a .UNX. I hope you know, in the earlier version, if you have two data warehouses, if you want to create one WebI report, you cannot create one universe on two data warehouses. But in the current version, they gave a flexibility. You can create one universe on two data warehouses. When you create one universe on two data warehouses, that time the extension it will give for the universe is .UNX. .UNX. Anyway, now that's good. Anyway, I hope you know this. Before moving to this, anyway, that we'll discuss later. Don't worry about that. Anyway, there is a class for that. Creating crystal reports. Sorry, creating universe by using Information Designer and Universe Designer. Now our agenda is we'll stick for crystal reports. If you have any doubts, please ask me the crystal report. Then I'll show you the differences between R3 and R4 crystal reports. Then we'll move to the Excel CS there in R4 and R3. Later I'll talk about each and every feature there in the reporting tool and universe. Okay. Okay. Now, well and good. Now let me explain what we discussed. You know, in BO R4, we have two tools for creating crystal reports. Number one is called as a Crystal Report 2011. Number two is called as a Crystal Report Enterprise or Crystal Report Explorer. By using Crystal Report Enterprise and Crystal Report Explorer, you can create Crystal Report on top of UNX. That means universes. By using Crystal Report 2011, you can create Crystal Report on top of any data source there in the world. There we have a lot of drivers. Once you created your Crystal Report, by using Crystal Report 2011 window-based version, it's not a web-based version. It's a window-based version, not a. It's a window-based version. Once you created your Crystal Report, that Crystal Report, you need to publish in the server. Then later, the customer can access your Crystal Report by using BI Launchpad. BI Launchpad, they can see your crystal report. If they requested to modify the crystal report, please, as a developer, from your system, you need to connect with the crystal report tool and go to File, Open, and click on Enterprise. There you have a sample crystal report. Click on Open. That time you can import that crystal report from Raven server to your local client. Then modify the crystal report according to the end user requirement. Once you modified your crystal report, again you need to go to File, Save As, where in the Enterprise with the name called as sample. That time the modification will be again exported to the Raven server. Your modification the customer can see from where? There is a tool is called as the BI Launchpad. Always the customer will connect with the BI Launchpad. There they can click on. Once, how the customer can access BI Launchpad, you know, the customer need a URL for BI Launchpad, and we'll send a URL for the customer, as well as the customer need a user account in the Raven server. Why the customer required a user account in the Raven server, you know? The reason is you created crystal report. That report you put in the Raven server. If they want to access that report from Raven server, they need a authorized user account and password in the Raven server. Who will create a user account and password in the Raven server, you know? There is a guy called as administrator. The administrator will create a user account for the end users in the Raven server. How they will create? By using a CMC tool. In Beaver there is a CMC tool, Central Management Console. By using CMC tool, the administrator will create a user account in the Raven server. Once they created user account in the Raven server, the customer can access your Raven server by using BI Launchpad URL with their username password. That means already administrator created the user account in the Raven server. They sent that user account to the customer. Now customer will use that username password to connect with the Raven server from BI Launchpad. Once they connected with the BI Launchpad, they need to go to document list and they need to navigate to that report. They can open your report and they can see your report. That is what happening in the real time. Developer, customer. Developer need all the softwares in the developer system, but customer need not to install any software. They need only BI Launchpad URL and user account in the server. That is enough for them. If they want to modify crystal report, they need to go to applications. In the applications they can see what? Crystal reports for enterprise. Crystal reports for enterprise. They just need to click on crystal reports for enterprise and it will open a tool and it will allow them to modify your crystal report. They can change the formatting and all. That is what they gave in the new tools. Now we'll see. I'll explain you again. I'll summarize. Anyway, Leela sir, I'll explain you. Don't worry about that. We can call as stored procedures. That is not a big deal. But the thing is, now I'm just trying to explain the differences. Okay. Later, once we have seen the crystal, I will explain one by one. I'll take one by one database. I'll show you how to create a crystal report for different databases. I'll explain you how to create a crystal report on SAP Bex, how to create crystal report on top of Universe, how to create crystal report on top of XML/WSDL URL, how to create crystal report on top of Access/Excel, how to create crystal report on top of OLTP databases, and all I'll explain. Don't worry. Okay. Now the thing is, now let me explain how to create a crystal report. John sir, are you ready? Hello? John sir, are you ready to create a crystal report now?
Unmuted.
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Show me how to create crystal report. I'm just giving the username and password. I'm a customer. I gave a requirement for you. I'm just giving the requirement for you. Let me explain my requirement first and ask me if you have any doubts in the requirement, and just create a crystal report and give me access for me. Yes, I want to explain my requirement. Create